30 seconds and counting.
There were plenty of years where there were guys who would dread being drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Not anymore.
Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds.
Brandon Beane realizes they're in a window of 2 to 3 years max to get this done while the iron's still hot. And getting Von Miller into that situation was big for the Bills.
10, 9.
Oh, baby.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Great interview, guys.
What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot here with you, live on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Victory Monday night. And that, of course, can only mean one thing. It is the smoke break powered by BetUS. Welcome in, folks. Fresh off of a fifth straight W, fresh off of an 8-2 start, and fresh off some exciting breaking news coming out of Buffalo this afternoon, as head coach Sean McDermott has opened the window. The 21-day practice window has opened for Matt Milano. The return is right around the corner, folks, just when you couldn't get enough of what these Buffalo Bills have been serving up to us on a silver platter. Here's one more delicious side on top of the entree that's been 5 straight wins, the best start since '93. The Chiefs game upcoming this weekend. Oh, boy. I am stoked right now. Did not see that coming this afternoon. Sean McDermott kind of surprised us all in letting us know that Matt Milano will be returning to practice. Now, of course, you won't be playing this upcoming weekend, but no one ever expected that. But we very likely could be seeing Matt Milano back out on the field under the lights on Sunday Night Football against the reigning NFC champs, the San Francisco 49ers. The Sunday after Thanksgiving. Exciting stuff. Before we dive into it, want to give a quick shout out to my friends over at BetUS. Right now, they got the lines up for the game tonight. The Miami Dolphins season could come to a close tonight. Let me know what you're up to in the comments. I'm considering doing a Colts-Bills recap show plus a Rams-Dolphins live stream. Last week, we did a Chiefs-Bucks live stream, had a blast doing it. So considering doing that tonight. Let me know in the chat if you're down to get into it, and maybe we will. But tonight, that game is set to kick off, of course, at 8:15 on Monday Night Football, and currently the Rams are a 2-point favorite. I'm all over that. I absolutely love that. The Dolphins season's pretty much over to begin with. Tonight, you can really put 100 nails in that coffin. There might already be a few in there, but the Rams can certainly put the dirt over the coffin and close things up this evening. They're 2-point favorites right now on BetUS. If you want to get in on that game or the Week 11 games, 150% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first deposit is what you can get with the promo code YouTube150. That'll also get you 125% bonus on your next two after that. Boy, oh boy, folks, I was already stoked to begin with, waking up today, as I always am, after a W, feeling good. Yesterday, the Bills looked great defensively. Wasn't the best offensive performance, but how can you complain when you hit 30 points and Josh Allen doesn't have a passing TD? Not too shabby. But today, Sean McDermott tells us all that Matt Milano will be eligible to practice ASAP. He's ready to go. He's ready to practice, and that 21-day window of return has now opened. So let's take a look right now at where we're currently at and what we might be able to expect here. What do we want to happen as well? So as it stands right now, you got the Chiefs coming up on Sunday. Obviously, Matt Milano will not be around for that game. We'll talk more about who will be and won't be around for that game in just a minute here. But Matt Milano, not eligible, or not going to be playing in that game, rather. Then next week, you have the bye. I said it last night. This bye week could not be coming at a better time for Buffalo. Really couldn't. You had so many teams that had an early bye this year, it felt like. Feels like the Bills are one of the only teams. It just feels like when you're looking at everyone's record right now and kind of comparing where everyone's at, seems like everybody's played one less game than the Bills. It just feels like this bye week is late. But thank God, it is when it is. It is coming at the perfect time. And now you're really starting to see just how perfect of a time it actually is coming. Not just because you're looking to get Coleman healthy and Cooper healthy and whoever the hell else healthy, right? A list of guys, Kincaid now, Spencer Brown. You're looking to get all those guys a week off, but you're also getting an additional week to allow Matt Milano to get ready to get back into action. You're also looking at when this bye week falls, it's not just to get guys healthy, but it's coming at a perfect time right before the Bills season really starts to heat up. This is the toughest stretch of their year. They had a tough stretch in the beginning, you could argue. The Arizona Cardinals right now, how great is that W week 1 looking, by the way? The way that they're rolling right now, I know it's the Jets, but they beat the ever-living piss out of the Jets last night. Kyler Murray's becoming a budding MVP candidate, and they've won, I believe, 4 in a row. They're winning their division as it stands right now. That win's looking great. I know the Bills say that, or everyone says the Bills haven't beaten anybody. Cardinals are somebody, right? So you had that stretch in the beginning where it was the Cardinals, but we know what the Dolphins are against the Bills. You did have those 2 games, of course, against the Ravens and the Texans, the only 2 losses for the Bills all year long. I still think that this upcoming stretch here is the more difficult stretch. You got the Chiefs coming up here, the bye, and then you take on the reigning NFC champs. You're taking on a healthy Rams team who will watch tonight, probably beat up on the Dolphins. And then you're taking on a Lions team who can win games against division-leading teams while their quarterback throws 5 picks. Last night was one of the most insane wins I've ever seen for a team. One of the worst losses I've ever seen for a team. That loss for the Houston Texans last night, I don't know how it gets more disgusting than that. If you're a Texans fan, I don't know how you got out of bed this morning. You forced 5 interceptions and you lose the game on the back of 2 50-plus yard field goals that tied it and won it. Insanity. That team can win in any scenario. And right now, like I've been saying all year, the Lions, to me, are the clear-cut favorite to make the Super Bowl out of the NFC. The Eagles are getting better. I think that they'll pose a threat to the Lions at some point in the playoffs. Nobody else really scares me in the NFC right now, including the Niners. We'll see how much better they get with the return of Christian McCaffrey. But even with McCaffrey out on the field yesterday, their special teams was terrible. They didn't play a great game by any means, and the Bucs had him on the ropes. So right now, there's 2 teams that have separated in the NFC, in my opinion, and I feel like the Lions are 1 step ahead, maybe a couple steps ahead of the Eagles. So with that in mind, that's who the Bills have coming up here. You got the Chiefs, of course, haven't lost since last Christmas, 15 straight wins. You got the Niners, you got the Rams, you got the Lions. That is as tough of a schedule in a 4-game period as you will find anywhere, any year. The reigning Super Bowl champion, the reigning NFC champion, the current NFC 1 seed, and a Rams team that, when healthy, they could wind up coming back and winning the West right now, the way it's looking. That division is so all over the place between the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners. They could wind up winning their division at the end of the year. That's who the Bills have upcoming these next 4 weeks. So that bye week couldn't be coming at a more perfect time, because not only are you getting guys healthier, but you're getting that rest, you're getting that break before you got to go into that. And then your reward after that, and you do get rewarded. You got 2 games against the Patriots and 1 against the Jets. Now, barring an epic collapse, those seem like 3 victories to you, do they not? They seem like it to me. Now we know. I know. Any given Sunday, I know. But what are the Bills best at? Winning those games. Everybody gets on the Bills all year long. They haven't played anybody. They only beat crap teams now. Well, when they play the crap teams, they don't just beat them. Doesn't take a 50-yard field goal at expiration, even though it took a 61-yarder against the Dolphins, but that's different. It's a divisional game. They were playing for that season, that game. Give it a little grain of salt on that one. They beat the ever-living hell out of these middling to below-tier teams. I expect the same against a rookie quarterback in the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. By that point, I don't even know if they'll be playing starters in week 18, or week 17. Just pack it up, right? So you get through this next stretch here. You have that nice ending. Who knows where we'll be? You get that W over the Chiefs this upcoming weekend, we can start talking one seed. I don't like, I just, the odds of it to me are quite minimal. Knowing what, and I also think the Bills would essentially have to run the table. Maybe you could lose one of the games after the bye week. You can't lose the Chiefs game because then they would have the head-to-head in addition to then a 3-game lead. So the bye week coming at a perfect time, and now you factor in the Matt Milano situation. So he won't play this week. That's 1 week down. Then you go the full week into the bye, no game. Then you go the full week into the San Francisco game. The question then is, does Matt Milano play in the Niners game? He could. He very well could. And I think if the Bills win against the Chiefs, that might factor into when Milano comes back. Obviously, the Bills want the 2 seed, and right now, the Steelers are right on their heels. The Ravens could very well be as well. They're a game back. The Steelers are only a half game back. So you don't want to test fate. Obviously, you're going out here trying to win every one of these. I do wonder, though, if the Bills lose to the Chiefs, if that factors into not bringing Matt Milano back sooner than maybe you would. If you do beat the Chiefs, I wonder if that signals, hey, it's time to bring him back. We're trying to run the gamut here. I mean, obviously not. Of course, they're trying to do that regardless. But you got a much better chance, in my opinion, with Matt Milano out on the field, and I wonder if they push the envelope a bit if they do know that 1 seed is within somewhat reach. I don't think it's within reach if they lose to Kansas City, because that would then put the Bills at 8-3. It would put Kansas City at 10-0. They would then have to overcome a 3-game deficit to the Chiefs plus a head-to-head. At that point, there would only be 7 games left. Do you anticipate the Chiefs losing 4 of 7 and the Bills winning out? I don't. So I wonder if then maybe you don't push the envelope as much, but that 2 seed's still important. You want every game at home until you get to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, should they make it. If they, for some reason, don't make it, which would be insane based on what we've seen out of them since Mahomes has taken over, then that AFC Championship would be in Buffalo. That 2 seed means something. It doesn't mean as much as it used to, with, of course, not having the bye factoring into it anymore. You still want to be at home. Bills haven't lost a game at home this year, 0-2 on the road. Now, 2 of their tougher games were on the road, but you all know, nothing I'm telling you here you don't know. They'd much rather be playing in Buffalo. The 2 seed matters. But I'm thinking if that 1 seed is a legitimate chance, maybe that factors into the Milano situation. But the question is, do you want him back in for that Niners game? Do you want him back in for that Niners game? Let's just say the Bills, it doesn't matter. I'll leave it open-ended. Win or lose this upcoming Sunday. You tell me whether that factors into it or not. You tell me in the chat if you want Milano back out on the field against the Niners. Do you want him back out on the field against the Rams, the Lions? In my opinion, and I don't know if it gets to this point, but if you don't play Milano in the Niners game, I'm wondering if you wait on it till the playoffs. I don't know what the strategy is going to be. But what I can take away from McDermott telling us the practice window open up today is he's more ready to go than we probably thought. We all had the highest of hopes that he would be good to go come January. I don't know if we were ready to start talking about this a little after the first week of November here. So maybe it's not worth waiting on him. And I think there's definitely an advantage to allowing him to get a couple of games under his belt before going into elimination type territory. But I also understand the hesitancy. You want to make 100% sure that he is 100% healthy for the games that matter the absolute most. I guess at the end of the day here, regardless of what you want or regardless of what you think or what I want, the fact of the matter is, number 58 is going to be playing linebacker for these Bills in January. So above anything else, whether he comes back against the Niners or he doesn't come back until the playoffs, at the end of the day, you can't complain. The guy is going to be out there banging heads in January. That's all any of us could have asked for. This team right now has their best start in 30 years without him out there. when they get him back, they will be that much better. And they will have him back when it matters most. They will have him back in a situation in which they did not have him back last year that ultimately wound up being a major tipping point in the Chiefs divisional game. You cannot tell me, I'm not saying they won, and I've said this 1,000 times, I'm not saying the Bills beat the Chiefs in the divisional round last year with Milano, with Bernard. You can't tell me Travis Kelce doesn't go up and down the field, though, the way he does if they're in there. You just can't. It's a different game. And maybe the Chiefs approach it differently and they win based on that approach. We'll never know. But the Bills' defense was a shell of themselves last year in that spot. With Milano out there, they will be in a much better spot. They will be in a much better spot with Bernard by his side as well. Deron Johnson playing some of the best slot corner in the game right now, right? This defensive line that yesterday had 4 sacks. This defense, the way that they've been playing, and I know that there's been spots where they've struggled. The screen pass game, right? The short pass game in general. The run game to some degree. They get Milano back out there with Bernard. It's night and day compared to what they trotted out there last year, and they were a field goal away from potentially taking that game into overtime and winning it. And I think the Milano factor could be that difference maker between losing by a field goal and winning the game by a field goal. I think that factor on the side, on that side of the ball, and it's not just him, by the way. There's going to be a ton different. We were decimated defensively last year. Decimated. Man. Got Blue Buffalo, by the way. He's coming in here. He's saying, man, Z, I had to switch to the AFC roundtable. TD's going delusional right now. I actually just talked to TD. I was just talking to TD like 30 minutes ago. You want to know what I said to him? I said to TD, I go, you ready to rock tonight? I said, where are you at? I said, are you still ready to rock or have you just packed it in? He goes, packed it in. He goes, what do you mean? We're winning the Super Bowl. That's what TD said to me. Win or lose, you cannot knock the confidence of TD. I love it. But man, the idea of and this is where I've been for a while now, ever since we knew, and no offense to TD or Richie for that matter, ever since we knew the Jets and the Dolphins were pretty much dead in the water, I have had my sights completely focused on January. I've had it set on January really since the emergence of the dominance of Josh Allen. Because you knew, barring something like last year, if it continued to go south, you knew this team was going to be in the dance. It's what they do in the dance that's then going to matter the most, obviously. So when you become what the Bills have become, the regular season, it's the trial run for teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, who are more than capable of getting into the playoffs and running the distance. But now it's even more so because the Bills are essentially AFC East champs in the first week of November here, even earlier, really, especially after the Jets get rolled yesterday. I anticipate the Dolphins lose tonight. It would then just be one more step towards locking that in. You focus in now on January with the idea of Milano and Bernard, and it's exciting stuff. I'm just stoked up. This team is playing as well as it's ever played against under Josh Allen. This team has had its best start in 30 years. They're playing complementary ball, scoring in a variety of different ways. They're averaging right around 30 points. They've scored 30 points in 4 consecutive. I believe they've scored 30 points in 6 of their 9 games. Defense steps up when it matters most. It feels like when one unit's struggling, the other unit finds a way to pick them up. They're doing all of this, and they have dealt with a variety of injuries. And the difference between now and last year is that last year they didn't have any offensive injuries, at least to the extent in which they've had now. It's been a rotating door at wide receiver, and that's what it was going into the year to begin with. It was already a revolving door at the wide receiver position to begin with. You're factoring in injuries. Matt Collins yesterday had almost 100 yards receiving against a team that is a game out of a playoff spot, and they dropped 30 on him. And Josh Allen had almost 300 yards, and that was a bad game. That was a bad game for the Bills' offense. That was a bad game for Josh Allen. So if you're able to go into January with a healthy Cooper, a healthy Coleman,
Shakir, a healthy Kincaid, and then on the defensive side of the ball, a healthy Milano, a healthy Bernard, Rasul Douglas, Teron Johnson. That defensive line, I'm telling you, it feels good. It feels good. This Milano news just has you that much more excited for a couple of months from now. But the question is right now, is that going to be when we see him? Or are we going to see him sooner? If I had to put money on it, I think we see him. I think we see him within the stretch of the Niners, Rams, and Lions. I'm not willing to put my money on the Niners game just yet. But if the practice window opened today and he doesn't play this week, and obviously they have the bye next week, that is the full 3 weeks of the practice window. And if he's ever going to be ready to go, he's going to be ready to go for that Niners game. I don't think it's a question of whether he'll be ready to go. It'll be more of a question of, do they want him to go? I don't think you can argue if they need him to go. If I'm going up against Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, and I know they're not having their best year, but I'd much rather have Matt Milano out on that field. No question about it. But is it worth doing it if you know a couple more weeks on the sideline might be better for you heading into the postseason? Here's how I see it. If I'm McDermott, if there's any inkling that tells me I'm better off preserving him to the fullest until January, I do it. That's how I see it. Because I don't think it's worth it. The Bills have already got at least a top 4 playoff spot locked up. And regardless of whether it's home or away, I would much rather have Milano out on the field than not. And if the only way I know that he's going to be 100% healthy, now you obviously can't factor in him going out there and getting dinged up again. But what my point is if it's not to the point right now where he's 100% ready to rock, then I wouldn't do it. But if he is, I don't see the fault in it. All I know is I just need him out there in January. It would absolutely put me in my grave if they put him back out there and he gets injured again. Now, that's the risk you run, even if he is 100% ready to go. But that's the risk you run with anybody. That's the risk you run with trotting Josh Allen out there every week. You can't play like that. My whole point is if he's not at that 100%, then there is no point in putting him out there at less than 100%. If he is at 100%, though, let it rip. I mean, let it rip. I don't know if it'll be that Niners game. Something tells me it won't be. I don't know why. Just a gut feeling. I wouldn't mind it at all. I would love it. I will be at that game, and I would love to be there for the return of Matt Milano, because when they announce his name coming out of the tunnel, that place is going to lose its shit. And I want to be a part of it. My money's on him coming back in that 3-game window, though. Niners, Lions, Rams. And I think if you need him for any of those games, I would argue it's the Lions. They got the best running back duo in the league, and they got weapons all over that field. I would want him out there for that game more than any other game. But I will say, if he doesn't play against the Niners and he doesn't play against the Rams, I'm waiting until the postseason. I don't need him out there for 2 New England games and a Jets game. I hate to sound overly confident, but I think we are, we have earned the right to say that the Bills can beat the Patriots and the Jets without Matt Milano. I think that's fair to say. So I don't think I'm risking the health of Matt Milano over a 3-game stretch that includes 2 games against New England and 1 against the Jets. I'm not risking it in that situation. If they get through the Lions and they don't, and he hasn't been out on the field yet, I'm waiting until January. I'm 100% waiting until the wild card, if by some insane chance, hopefully the divisional, if they have a bye. Very small chance, a chance nonetheless. If he's ready to rock, though, I don't know what the difference would be between the Niners game and the Lions game. He's been rehabbing it since the first week of September. I don't know how much of a difference it makes to wait between week 13 and week 15. I'm imagining if he's good to go, then it could be that Niners game. But if you get through that 3-game stretch there, I don't see the point in putting him in until the playoffs. My whole thing right now, just where I'm at in terms of my excitement level, it's just that it's not and I think a lot of us, we were convinced we would see him in the playoffs, but now you have confirmation. You have confirmation now. And that, you can't help but be over the moon excited about that. You know for a fact now that you're going to have him for the most important moments. And that's got me fired up. There would be no cooler spot to bring him back out on the field, however, though, than that Niners game. Because, one, it's Sunday Night Football. It's a huge game against a great opponent, and it's at home. The next 2 games, the Rams and the Lions game, those 2 are on the road. So just in terms of the coolness factor, bringing him out for his first game back against the Niners would be epic. Now, Mario's making a good point, and this has to be factored in, and this is where I'm at. If he's not at 100%, don't rush it. But there's also that part of me that sits here today with this news being announced today, November 11th, saying, if they announced it today, he's got to be ready to go, or at least damn close to it. So I'm imagining that 3 weeks from now, he's going to be good for that Niners game. And if that's the case, then I agree with Mario here. Get him the snaps, and get him the snaps in the big games. Don't roll him out. Don't roll him out there just because for the Patriots, Jets, and Patriots again. It'll low key piss me off if they sideline him for the Niners, the Rams, and the Lions, and then he debuts in the Patriots and plays against the Jets and the Patriots again. I won't love that. I mean, I won't care if they won all the other games, and I'll be like, hey, genius move by McDermott. He saw the crystal ball that we didn't. But he does need to get reps. I mean, that's a man that plays 150 miles per hour every single snap, and he needs to get the juices flowing before it's elimination time. I do agree with that. If he's 100%. But now, once again, I can't help but think he's not. How could he not be 100% if they're announcing today that the practice window has opened on November 11th? He's got to be 100%, or at least close to it. Anticipating that after this 3-week window here, he will be at that prime Matt Milano position that we're hoping he will be. So we're going to get him practicing over these next 3 weeks. It's a beauty that they have the bye week. Be able to get a full week of practice in here, not having to play. Get a full week of practice in going into that bye week. Get a full week of practice in going into that Niners game. And I'm sure shortly after the bye, we will know the vibe surrounding the idea of him returning against San Francisco in week 13. And I'd love to see it. Man, would I love to see it. Under the lights in Buffalo at home would be killer. So we got some great news coming out of Buffalo today, of course, and that is the Matt Milano will be returning at some point here. The practice window is open. It's great. We did get some bad news, but I think we already knew this news, and some iffy news. The bad news is that Keon Coleman on Monday, it's only Monday, he has already been declared inactive for the Chiefs game. So the injury is clearly to an extent in which it has no chance of being healed by this upcoming week. If there was a chance, obviously McDermott wouldn't seal the door shut on it on Monday morning, 6 days before kickoff. So clearly it's not close. Him announcing that he will not be good to go for the game today tells you it's not close. Once again, bye week couldn't be coming at a better time. I'm wondering, though, will he be ready to go for the Niners game? How bad is it? I don't know if we know the extent of how bad it is. I think we just we keep reading between the lines of what McDermott has kind of given us. And if you read between those lines, well, today he's announced he's not playing this upcoming week. You know for a fact that it's at least bad enough to where you don't even have a crack at playing this week. But I think we already knew that. So I guess there's no point in delaying the inevitable this week. I think we already all knew that he wasn't going to be good to go. But with that bye week, I wonder if he'll be back for the Niners. I sure hope he will be. I would be stunned if at the very latest he's back for the Rams game. I'd be stunned if that wasn't the case. He'll be back for the LA game and then moving into the playoffs. The update on Dalton Kincaid, who got hurt on that missed throw, and that's the biggest bummer of the whole thing, is that Allen missing Kincaid on that throw. Not only was it a 14-point swing for the Bills in terms of them not scoring, then not getting the fourth down conversion, and then the Colts immediately scoring, but Kincaid also got banged up on that play as well. He'd come back in for 2 more plays, and he wouldn't come back the rest of the game. McDermott said that we'll see how it progresses this week is essentially what the statement was. He said, we'll see how the week goes. And that's kind of what he says often. I feel like for guys that you kind of are knowing probably aren't going to play this week. So to see how it goes this week, that was the sentiment for Kincaid. That was the sentiment for Spencer Brown, who tweaked his ankle this past game as well. So as it stands, it is up in the air on Brown and Kincaid going for the Chiefs game on Sunday. Now, in terms of Amari Cooper, now that's the big one to me. Amari Cooper is the massive one to me because we already are aware that Keon Coleman will not be playing. You saw it yesterday. Josh Allen had his first multi-pick game of the season, and the one pick he had was the worst pick he's had since the midway point of last season. It was terrible. And you can't tell me that that doesn't have something to do with the fact that you're playing with a completely depleted wide receiver core. Felt like Allen was forcing a little bit more than usual yesterday. His ball was just off. I always feel like there has to be some sort of diminishment in confidence when you're going out there without 2 of your top dogs. How, as a quarterback, could you not feel less confident? Now, I'm not saying you don't feel any confidence, but don't you think the mindset, if you're Josh Allen, if you're going out in any particular game, don't you think that your confidence level is significantly higher with Cooper and Coleman out there as opposed to not being out there? I think it's just human nature. You can't help but feel that way. And I think that that might trickle into elements of the game at times. I mean, there were some moments on Sunday. There were some moments on Sunday where it didn't look good. That overthrow to Kincaid was one of them. That pick was one of them. Now, he, of course, had a couple of amazing moments. That deep ball to Matt Collins before the half was incredible. The rushing touchdown was amazing. The rush to get the first down was incredible. He had a couple of great runs, right? A couple of amazing throws as well. Not just that Matt Collins one, but that dime to Dawson Knox. Not saying he didn't have his moments, but I just think that the mindset in general gets a bit skewed with when you don't have both your guys. If you get one of these guys back, I think that goes a long way, and you obviously aren't going to have Coleman. I really hope Cooper is good to go this upcoming week. But if it gets to the point where the Bills do not have Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, Dalton Kincaid, and Spencer Brown, I mean, what do you want me to tell you? It's the best defense in the league they're going up against. I mean, you tell me. Am I nuts for thinking that the chances against the Chiefs without Kincaid, Coleman, Cooper, and Spencer Brown aren't significantly decreased? I think that they're significantly increased just with the addition of Cooper. I just feel I feel like that he matters that much. I genuinely do. I genuinely feel that way. You have seen it. You have seen the difference in the numbers, the difference in the overall execution, and more importantly, the eye test when he's out there. And I know it's a small sample size. But it's a sample size nonetheless that we had not had all year, that we briefly had, that looked way better than it was. I think you can get away with that against the Colts, the Titans, the Jags, whatever. I just think that your margin for error against the Chiefs, no matter who you are, is extremely slim. We all know that, and you are furthering you're widening your margin with that many of your top guys gone. Now we don't know of that grouping there outside of Coleman. We don't know who will be good and who won't be good. As I said, Kincaid right now, it's we'll see how the week goes. Spencer Brown, it's we'll see how the week goes. He also said, in terms of Amari Cooper, that he's improving. For my money, I think we see Amari Cooper this weekend. Now, the silver lining here is if you do go into the Chiefs game and you don't see Cooper, you don't see Kincaid, you're obviously not going to see Coleman, you don't see Spencer Brown. The silver lining is deep breath. We have the bye week, and then we're going to get all these guys back. That's the silver lining here. It just sucks that this Chiefs game's kind of falling at a time in which this offense is losing piece after piece, cycling through guys right now. You never want to play the Chiefs empty-handed. Now, I to guess on Kincaid with the we'll see how the week goes, that tells me it might be 50-50. And if it is 50-50, that probably tells me if he does end up going, he's not going to be at full strength. And I don't know how beneficial that is for them anyways. But I think that you're in a position, at least with Kincaid. I trust Dawson Knox. Had a couple of great plays yesterday. I trust Dawson Knox. I think you can mitigate that loss a bit more than maybe the others. I think Coleman's the key, or the Cooper's the key to me, though. Amari Cooper is the key to me. You get him back for Sunday, and I like where the Bills are at. I mean, you won't believe this right now. I mean, maybe you will. I don't know. But the Chiefs are on a 15-game win streak. They have not lost since last Christmas. And right now, with all these injuries in mind, the Buffalo Bills are currently favorited to win at home on Sunday. The line has jumped all over the place. I've seen them as big as a 2.5-point favorite. 1 point favorite at other places, 2.5-point favorite in other places. It's all over the place, but regardless, they're favored. I don't know how you justify them being favored against a team who's won 15 straight games if you're missing all of those guys. I can see the justification to some degree. A team that's beaten this team more than anybody else has in the regular season, right? A team that's at home, a team that's on a 5-game win streak of their own, a team that's 8-2, the second seed right now. I see the justification if you have Cooper out there. But I think genuinely, if you are without Cooper, if you are without, obviously, Coleman, and then you are without Spencer Brown and Dalton Kincaid, I worry about this offense against the best defense they'll probably play all year. The Bills' defense would have to have a generational performance, and they'd have to force multiple turnovers, in my opinion, in order for them to kind of overwrite the losses in which they'd be going into that game with. Amari Cooper, to me, is the key for this game. Can he go? If he's close, I feel like you got to go with him. Try and get the most out of him for a week. Then you got 2 weeks to heal up. You got 2 weeks to lay low. Go out there against the Chiefs, give it 100% for 60 minutes of ball, and kick your feet up for 2 weeks and get healthy. Because obviously he's not 100% if it's still not determined as of right now that he's good to go this week. But I still think that an 80% Coleman, the decoy factor alone, it opens up things for this Bills against the defense that's incredibly tough. The best in the league, in my opinion. Just having him out there on the field, to me, is a major factor. I'm not even asking to go out there and target him, 7 to 10 times. But allow him to be a guy that takes others away from Shakir, from Holland, from hopefully Kincaid, if not Knox. Something more to respect, to allow the run game to open up. I just think that it goes such a long way. If he's close, he's got to go, in my opinion. He's got to be out there. If he's not out there, then, man, how bad is this injury? I mean, really, how bad is it? My gut tells me, man, like I said, if I got to put the chips in the middle of the table on something, I think Amari Cooper goes. I think Amari Cooper plays this week. And I think that would be huge. You tell me in the chat. What are your thoughts on Amari Cooper. If you had to make a bet on it, one way or the other, no bones about it's coming in. He's saying the Bills are averaging 36.3 points per game at home. Once again, this team undefeated at home, and they're scoring points everywhere, no matter really where they are, but home especially. And we do know that they're two lower scoring points of the game of the year were, of course, in their two losses. Only 10 points against the Ravens, 20 points against the Texans. But they've scored 30-plus points, and I believe 6 of their 9 games, and now 4 straight. I don't know where you're getting, this is just being 100% real. I don't know where you're getting 30, home or away. I don't know where you're getting 30 against this Chiefs defense without the guys I just listed. Also, I'm pretty sure, let me look this up just to double check. There's a crazy stat out there about the Chiefs defense. So I believe that the Chiefs defense has not allowed more than 28 points since about the midway point of last year, maybe longer than that. I'm looking right now. I don't have the exact stat in front of me. Regardless, the Chiefs defense has not allowed more than 28 points and well over a year, I believe. So no one's scoring 30 points to begin with on this team. Okay, thank you. Jonas has an even better stat for me. Thank you. You guys are the best. Jonas is saying the last time the Chiefs gave up 30 was the Super Bowl against the Eagles. They have gone and won another Super Bowl in the time in which they have last allowed 30 points. Think about that. That is insane. And they won that game as well. The last time they allowed 30, they still won the damn ball game. But they don't allow 30 points at all. So it's been well over a year. It's going on 2 years at this point. So you already are unable to get to 30 almost, out of the gates. I don't know where you're getting that with the amount of guys I just listed being out on offense. Like I said last night, predicting this game, I don't see it being any more than a one-score margin on either side, and I don't see any team breaking 24 points. That's how I see this game. This game, to me, has 24-21 written all over it, 24-20 written all over it, that type of game. One way or the other. That's win or lose. On either side, that's how I see this game. I don't know where the Chiefs' offense has shown you that they're getting 30 points against a defense like the Bills, especially in Buffalo. And the Chiefs' defense has proved to you time and time again that no one's getting 30 against them. And if the Bills are going in there with the injuries that they currently have offensively, I think you're well aware of the fact they're probably not touching 30 against that defense either. That's why it goes. That's why the difference between not having Cooper and having him is so big in this type of game. Because you're already going up against a defense that has been beyond incredible. They have just been stout. That stat is insane. Koala saying that he's indifferent about this game. That's how I feel. I know that the Bills will be able. I know that at the end of the day, regardless of what happens from kickoff to about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I don't care what happens. I am so confident in the fact that game on either end is going to be within a touchdown. There's no doubt in my mind. It would blow my mind if either of these teams have a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter. So where the indifference comes from, it's like, you're wondering, like, how are they going to get it done right at the end? That's probably what it is. And I think that the difference is that if you have an Amari Cooper, that's just that much more of a difference for this offense to get to the point total they're going to need to win this one. But you got to remember, Yesterday the Denver Broncos, if the Chiefs didn't sell their soul to, I can't get over it. I don't even got anything anymore. I don't even have any jokes for it anymore. I'm just dead. I'm dead inside over it anymore. I got nothing. But if the Chiefs if they weren't playing with the Ouija board in the locker room before that game, the Denver Broncos win that game yesterday with 17 points. I think for the Bills in this one, 24 points gets it done. 24 points wins this game. The goal to me, though, I think if you get to 20, it's right down to the last play. That's just how I see this game. If I had to make like the most crystal ball type like prediction, the team that gets to 24 on Sunday wins this ball game. That's how I see it. The team that gets to 24, that's the winner of the ball game. And I like my Bills' chances of getting to 24 a lot more with Amari Cooper out there. This defense that the Chiefs have, man, it ain't what they saw yesterday. It ain't what they saw last week. I mean, this is damn good D. Now, this is a great point that's being brought up by Broken Hearts Club. Or she's saying we struggle versus tight ends. Well, I think we have struggled against the better tight ends. It'll be interesting to see what Kelsey and Kittle bring to the table. That will be the next two tight ends these Bills face. But I thought you were saying that the Chiefs struggle against tight ends. They do. The Chiefs are not their one weakness. Their one weakness defensively. You saw Cade Otton last week, by the way, just an example. You saw Cade Otton last week against these same Chiefs go off. And that was in a game where they pretty much had no one else to throw to. The Bucs are without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Cade Otton was really their only solution, and he was eating that game. The Chiefs struggle against the tight ends. That's why having Kincaid, it would be huge regardless. But it would be even more big in the sense that I think that he is capable of having a major impact on that game. I think Dawson Knox, though, could too. We can't forget about Dawson Knox. He earned himself a second contract. That guy he still got it. He might not be Kittle or Kelsey, but I trust Dawson Knox to make a play. He just did it yesterday. I trust Dawson Knox to make a couple of plays. No doubt about it. But the word you put in the chat, the indifference about this game, it's probably the best way to put it. Indifferent. Walt saying, I don't trust this 2024 Bills pass rush against any QB that can move. We struggle getting into statue quarterbacks. I especially don't see it with Mahomes. I can see Mahomes having a 60-plus rush yard game on us. Mahomes is impossible to get to regardless. Now, it's one thing I've noticed with them this year that they haven't been as great at offensively. People have been getting home to Mahomes. But in general, compared to the rest of the league, it's so tough to get your arms around Mahomes. I've always compared him to a wet seal. It's like wrapping your arms around like a beached seal that just flopped out of the water and you're trying to get him back in. Like, you're not going to be able to get your arms around that thing, flopping all over the place. I don't understand how he does it. He doesn't have the athleticism of Josh Allen. He doesn't have the athleticism of Lamar Jackson. It's frankly not close, yet it doesn't really matter. The guy moves as good as any quarterback I've ever seen. The guy gets in and out of the pocket as good as any quarterback I have ever seen. And he's not nearly as athletic as the majority of the great moving quarterbacks that I've seen in my lifetime, including the two that are playing right now. I'm trying to look it up right now. Currently, the numbers for the Chiefs against the sack rate for the Chiefs currently on offense. By the way, back to that 24 number. So the Chiefs are averaging 24 on the dot. They're only allowing 18. The Bills are averaging 29 offensively. And defensively, the Bills are allowing 19. So this game, in terms of just the raw numbers, like it is dead even as you can get. Bills are allowing 19 defensively. Chiefs are allowing 18. Bills are scoring 29. Chiefs offense is scoring 24. But with the injuries, does it even out a bit there, right? Trying to find this stat here. So just to give you an example, the Bucs just the other night, they sacked Patrick Mahomes 4 times. So they were able to get him on the ground 4 times. Yes. So actually, wow, in back-to-back games, the Bucs sacked Patrick Mahomes 4 times. The Broncos sacked Patrick Mahomes 4 times. In total this year, Mahomes has taken a sack in every game but the Falcons game, who have a weak defense. In total this year, he has taken 7, 9, 11. Wow. He's been sacked 20 times this year. But I'm telling you, Mahomes being Mahomes, those numbers would probably be way worse if he weren't who he was. But he's been sacked 20 times this year. That's almost double what Josh Allen's been facing. Now Bartek's saying that the Chiefs' interior O-line has only allowed 29 pressures on 359 passing snaps. Man, I don't know how the hell they've allowed 20 sacks then. 4 in the last 2 games, though. Interesting. They've gotten after him. They can get after him. The question is, can you finish the job? Can you finish the job? Can you get him on the ground? He is one of the tougher quarterbacks to get on the ground. That's why I distinctly remembered watching the last couple of games where I'm like, man, I can't believe they actually got him down as many times as they did. I didn't realize it was that many, though, the last 2 games. I mean, 4 in each of the last 2 games. I wonder the last time that's happened for him. Because prior to that, he had taken a 3-sack game against the Chargers, but no more than 2 in any other game. So, I mean, Vita Vea was eaten in that game that we watched together on the network here. And the Broncos were getting after him yesterday, too. I mean, they only scored 14 or 16 points. And going into the fourth quarter, they were trailing. And I believe they only had 3 points at the half, if I'm not mistaken. So the offense, regardless of what the Chiefs' defense is bringing to the table, the offense has had their struggles putting points up. Can the Bills just find a way offensively to put one more drive together than they can? And once again, it all comes down to the little things against this team, the minor things that become the major things. And I think that one thing could be Amari Cooper, because they're going to have DeAndre Hopkins out there, right? They're going to have DeAndre Hopkins. And he was massive in that Bucs game. And he had a huge critical play for him yesterday. I think he only had 50 yards against the Broncos yesterday, but he had one of the plays of the game, a crucial first down that I think gained 30 yards. True to Guns coming in. He's saying Jets, Pats, Fins in off-season mode in November. Pure garbage. Say it for the people in the back, True Guns. Saying a little bit louder. God, it's been even worse than it's even worse than in November. You could argue at Halloween, a little earlier than that. The fork was stuck in the Jets and the Dolphins. It was officially stuck in the Jets yesterday. Holy smokes, man. Cardinals beat the hell out of that team yesterday. Let's see what the Rams got tonight. Hopefully we get a double dose. It could have been the sweep if the Chicago Bears all of a sudden weren't one of the worst teams in the league. Oh my God. 19-3 to New England. With that roster, that team's falling apart. Chicago. They were 4-2 at one point, I believe. 4-5 now. Not good. Laura coming in. Can you please explain exactly what is required to divulge about injuries? I understand strategic disclosure. But giving nothing on Keon seems criminal when NFL is so enmeshed in fantasy betting, etc. Yeah, this point gets brought up a lot. You know, some of it's gamesmanship, and some of it I just have no clue. Like, I'll give you the best example in the world happened week 1. Going into week 1, 49ers Jets, Christian McCaffrey was a game time decision. He was the number 1 drafted running back, number 1 overall pick in about 90% of fantasy football leagues. People were placing future bets on Christian McCaffrey, right? Offensive player of the year, over-unders on his touchdown totals, his yards, whatever, you name it. Game time decision against the Jets. This past weekend was week 10 of the NFL season, and that is when Christian McCaffrey made his 2024 debut. So your guess is as good as mine. All I know is you're required to inform whether throughout the week it goes from, questionable to before the game you have to announce whether or not they're good to go. I think beyond that, I don't really think that there's a whole lot more to it. Now, the point you bring up is the one that needs to be looked into more, and this whole system needs to be changed. It's the gambling and fantasy factor of it. You cannot have the gambling situation be as prominent as it is within the league right now. Every commercial is for one of their partner gambling affiliates. You can't be embedded into that type of business as much as they are without the full transparency that something like that does not entail. I mean, that does not bode well for those types of affiliations. You cannot go into that game saying he's a game time decision, knowing damn well that he wasn't. He didn't play for 10 weeks. And it's not like they didn't need him. The Niners are barely above 500. Or what are they at right now? Are they not? What are they at? Are they? They're a game above 500. It's not like they didn't need him. It's not like the Niners were the Bills at 8-2 and they weren't like dying to get McCaffrey back and they just wanted him to be healthy for the playoffs. Niners aren't even at the top of their own division right now. That's a division that they've, going into the year here, it felt like Aaron Donald's gone for the Rams. What does anyone really think about the Seahawks? They're decent, but they don't expect them to win the division. The Cardinals, bad last year. That was the Niners division set up on a platter this year for them. They're not even winning it right now going into week 11. So it's a great question you ask. I don't have the answer for you, and I don't think anybody else does either, Laura. But it's certainly something that has to change. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it has to change. Now, with the Coleman situation, I don't know if I don't know if there's anything strategic there. I don't know what's known and what isn't. Really. But, going back to the Cooper injury a couple weeks ago, like when he wasn't ready to go for the Seahawks game, or no, for the Dolphins game, was it? Yeah. The Dolphins, that took me by surprise. I wasn't anticipating that at all. We had known he was banged up throughout the week, but I never really got an overwhelming sense that he wasn't going to make it. Then he didn't make it, and then he didn't play again this past week. So you'd figure that there would be some rules in place where there needs to be like daily updates that are significant, but then I don't know how that factors into the whole HIPAA law thing. I have no idea. It's probably very extensive, way above my pay grade, I'll tell you that. But it is odd with all the gambling and fantasy factors now that there is not more rules in place to help not have those two conflict with one another, kind of like they did with that McCaffrey example. Drew's coming in. He's saying, hey, Bob, my guy. What up, Drew? How do you feel about us defending Worthy and Kelsey? Hopkins and Hunt doesn't scare me, but trick plays and screens do. Well, it's not like D-Hop should scare you for having like a Jamar Chase type day, but I'm not sitting here saying that you should be scared of anybody. This Bills defense holds their own against anybody. But I wouldn't say that I would be more fearful of one element or one guy in this game over another. That's what the Chiefs do best. You don't go into a game, especially now. Maybe you used to back in Kelsey's prime with Tyreek Hill being his running mate. Yeah, you got something to be scared about there. You got prime Tyreek Hill, you got prime Travis Kelce. You better be a little scared there because that's one of the best duos to ever be out on a football field together. But right now, that's not the case. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who was just acquired. You have an aging Travis Kelce, who will have a boom game and then disappear. You have Xavier Worthy, who has really done a whole lot of nothing in his rookie season so far. And then, you got Juju's back with them, right? And then you got Kareem Hunt, who they've been running the ball a lot with him. But it's not like he's Kareem Hunt of the past. But the thing of it is, you have to remember with the Chiefs, it never matters about one guy. It's never just one guy. But to give you an example, the last couple of weeks here, Kareem Hunt ran the ball against the Bucs 27 times. 27 times. And he ran it 21 times against the Raiders. 14 times against the Broncos. In all three of those games, he averaged less than 4 yards a carry. He averaged 2.5 yards a carry against the Broncos and 2.8 yards a carry against the Raiders. And on 27 attempts, 27, he barely cracked 100 yards against the Bucs. So the overall point here is it's not about one guy taking over and dominating. It's just they keep going with it. They keep going with it. And it's death by 1,000 cuts. But offensively, it has not been. I don't want to say this without jinxing it. I don't want to say it without showing my respect, because you know what the respect I have for the Chiefs. It hasn't been what it used to be. It's this defense. It's this defense. And Signified's coming in and saying, he's saying Kareem Hunt's yards per carry has been terrible. Yeah, it has. I just mentioned it. But this is what I'm getting at. They just keep going. They keep going. He might not be clipping off 5-yard, 6-yard carries. They just go back to it. Sets up the play action. Sets up that dunk over the middle to Kelce. Maybe that trick play to Worthy. Get you lacking on DeAndre Hopkins. Gets him open for a play. They stick to it. They're just so strategic and they're so patient. The Chiefs offense is so patient. Doesn't matter if nothing's working. Doesn't matter if Mahomes is turning the ball over. When the moment gets the biggest, when the lights shine the brightest, they have the answer. The other night, Monday Night Football. Go down, take the lead. Bucks tie it. They immediately go down the field again to kick off the overtime. They need points against the Bengals late. They got the points to go up and take the lead. They got the points to go up and take the lead against the Ravens. In all of those games, the Chiefs could have lost them. You realize right now the Chiefs are like 4 plays away from being under 500? But that's the difference. And I'm not sitting here saying that like, oh, you're just a hater. And you could say that about any team. No, but the Chiefs are different because they win every one of those. Every one of them. Every time. I think every win the Chiefs have had this year, or the majority of the games the Chiefs have had this year have all been within a score. Let me just take a peek here. They don't blow anybody out. So the last 3 games have all been within 1 score. And in total this year, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of their victories this year. Let me double check that. I just want to make sure I got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 7 of their 9 victories this year have been by 1 score. The only 2 that weren't were a 13-point win against the Saints team that just fired their head coach and the Niners. Niners were abysmal that game, and that was a great win for the Chiefs. I'm not taking anything away there. They scored 28 points. I think that was their highest scoring game of the year. The Chiefs have not scored 30 points this year once. They have not scored 30 points once this year, except for I'm lying. They just did on Monday night, duh. But it took overtime for them to get to it. They have not scored 30 points in regulation, I guess is the best way to put it. Bills have scored 30 points in regulation this year 6 times. Yet the Bills have 2 losses, the Chiefs don't. I mean, there's nothing. So to answer the question here, like when you're saying, like, how do I defend Worthy and Kelsey? How do we defend them? I'm not worried about this guy or that guy. It's never just one guy. I don't think there's going to be one guy this game that completely dominates. Won't be Hunt, won't be Hopkins, won't be Kelsey, won't be Worthy. It's just a little bit of everything. And then in what moment does what guy step up? And that's the moment where you're going to have one more play than them, one more point than them. And like not Jake saying, this team, I'm telling you, go back and look. They could be under 500. They're 9-0. I mean, let me give you an example. That game will start right there, week 1. A toe out of bounds for the Ravens. That game could go to overtime. The Ravens could win it. That's one. That's one game that could have gone a different way if a toe was in bounds. Bengals, Chiefs. Bengals are up. They call a pass interference on the Bengals that puts Harrison Butker in field goal range. He nails a 50-plus yarder as time expires to win it. The Atlanta Falcons game. The Falcons were in plus territory late in the game to try and go and take the lead. They go for it on 4th down. They don't get it. They never saw the ball again. That's one of them. The Bucs the other night. We were watching it together. How you don't go for 2 in that moment, I'll never know. I will never know. Goes to overtime. The Chiefs win the toss. They go down the field and win. If the Bucs won the toss, the way that they were moving the ball, I don't know. It just seemed like the Chiefs were coming off of a short week defensively. Might not have been their night. That's a 4th. And then, my God, the biggest example of all time yesterday, a blocked 35-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen anything like it in your life? Have you ever seen a win like that in your life, especially for a team that had a 14-game win streak on the line? That's 5 games right there, all decided by one moment. But you know that the Chiefs, when it comes down to the one moment, they're the ones that have the moment go in their favor. They're the ones who capitalize in the moment. They didn't just miss that kick yesterday. They blocked the kick, right? You can't say it's luck. They blocked that kick. They made it happen. They didn't just win the toss on Monday Night Football in overtime. They went all the way down the field and scored. They didn't have to. They could have given the ball back. No, they went all the way down the field and scored. They capitalized. The Chiefs game against the Falcons game. They stopped them on 4th down and didn't give the ball back. They couldn't have stopped them, or they could have given the ball back. That didn't happen. And then the Ravens game, by the way, when it came to the toe on the line, that was 4th and goal. Like, they got them to that point. They could have scored earlier. They didn't. They make it happen. The only one to me that's like a little like, it could be the Bengals game where they had the pass interference called on them, but hey, still, Harrison Butker has to nail over a 50-yard field goal to win that game, and he nailed it. They do it every time. Even if they have a little help from some laundry or from some incompetency by the other team, they find a way to do it. Can the Bills find a way to do it this Sunday? And they have. They've done it in the regular season. I mean, there's no better example ever than last year with that offside penalty. That was the one extra little thing. The one thing that the Chiefs never do wrong, that they did wrong, that cost them. Chiefs are always the ones that are butting up, and they get you to do the dumb thing. The Chiefs did the dumb thing in that game. And that was the ultimate difference in the ball game. Right? That's why I'm telling you, whoever gets the 24 in this game to me wins it. And whoever gets the 24 in this game wins it. And going into the 4th quarter, this game will be within 1 score. And no matter who wins it, it will be won by 1 score. Those are my locks of the game. I do not see a world where none of that happens. And the question in terms of how do they stop the Chiefs, I don't think offensively, this team has changed, and I don't know if everybody has quite come to terms with it. This is no longer the how the hell are we going to stop the Mahomes-led offense. This is how the hell are we going to put up points on this defense enough to get a comfortable lead in the victory? And how are we going to stop the offense in the moments that matter most? You're going to be able to stop this Chiefs offense the way that they've been playing. You're going to be able to stop this Chiefs offense for probably 85, 90% of the game. What are you doing in the other 10%? Whether that be a turnover on downs, a huge sack, knocking them out of field goal range, something. Because it just seems like that 10% there has been all the difference this year. It's been all the difference. It's all they've needed. It's all they've needed. They haven't scored 30 in regulation all year, and they're 9-0. They've won every game outside of 2 early games by 1 score. It's the defense. But Josh Allen has played tremendously well against these Chiefs. And that's why, to me, it's unfortunate if he goes into Sunday without at least Amari Cooper, because then it's just, I don't know how you sit here if they lose that game and you come into the stream here and you shit on Allen for. I don't know how we're going to be. I don't know how you could do that. You're going up against the best defense in the league, a team that hasn't allowed 28 points in like 2 years, and you're going to want to come in here and bag on Allen because he doesn't have literally anybody. He needs Cooper this Sunday, to me, for this offense to do what they need to do. And I'll tell you right now, if they win it without Cooper and Kincaid and they somehow find a way offensively for Josh Allen, I mean, I know Lamar right now, and you know my thoughts on the whole MVP thing right now. I feel like he's got it kind of wrapped up with a bow, but I don't know if there could be a more MVP-like performance than that would be, because it would have to be. I mean, it would have to be. And I would imagine that would factor in probably 75 rushing yards from Allen, a rush or 2 touchdown from Allen, and probably a couple of just insane throws to guys that probably would not be making those type of plays on other teams. I cannot wait for this football game. I can't wait. All right. Wow. We have 1,300 of you in here. That's amazing on a Monday night. I love it. I can clearly tell that everybody's as amped up as I am to have Matt Milano back in the fold coming up soon here, folks. I'm so excited about it. The lingering idea of having him back in the playoffs was always there for us. But now the confirmation that he's going to be back out on the field practicing and could be back out on the playing field as soon as December 1st is just the best. I don't know. There's what else could I say? It is just amazing. By the way, I told you earlier as we close up shop here, just to tell you, I'm not messing with you. The Bills right now on BetUS, they are a 1-point home favorite. This is factoring in all the injuries. We know right now that, Keon Coleman has been announced out, right? They are a 1-point favorite right now on BetUS, a home favorite. This is again, regardless of how much you love the Bills or how much you think they're going to win this week. The fact that the Bills are favored against the Chiefs this week, who have not lost since Christmas, how crazy is that? That's crazy. The over-under here to me, by the way. So remember how I said I think that the winner of this game gets to 24? Whoever gets to 24 wins this game. And I said 24-21. Well, would you look at that? The over-under is 45.5. It's right on where my train of thinking is. It's right on there because 24 plus 21, last time I checked, carry the 1. That's 45 points. Sharp they are. They are sharp, these books. BetUS is sharp. I see that coming down. I'm not kidding you. It's either going to be like 44 or 46. That number is so sharp. I didn't even know what the number was before looking. I just had the idea of a 24-20, 24-21 type game. It's going to be right around that number. And you're seeing through the betting line, by the way, exactly where my mindset is. It's a 1-point swing here on the line. A 1-point swing with an over-under of 45.5. They're telling you, this is telling you no one's breaking 30 in here. Because in order to break 30, it would have to sail over. And I don't see it. And then this is telling you this game's going to be down to the wire no matter what. What did they have the point total, by the way, on this? See, look at this. Look at this. Just to back up my point, BetUS has me covered. It is plus money. It is plus money for the Chiefs to win by 6 or more points. It is plus money for the Bills to win by 6 or more points. What that is telling you is that they don't think either of these teams are going to win by 6 or more points. BetUS is telling you that they think that this game is going to be within 6 points regardless of how it goes. Isn't that how you see it? If you see it a different way, you got to tell me in the comments, and you got to tell me how you see it that way. Very interesting. All those lines, by the way, currently up right now on BetUS. Use the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you a 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next two after that. Let me know in the comments. I'm undecided right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. We got 1,300 of you in here. Should we watch the Dolphins season end together tonight against the Rams? Let me know in the comments. What should we do? Should we do a little play-by-play live stream? Dolphins, Rams. Let me know what you're up to tonight. Let me know in the comments. Caroline's working tonight. And why not? I figured, hey, maybe why not? Why not? Well, we can go to the funeral together. Right? All right, I'm getting a lot of yeses. You guys talked me into it. All right. Yes, in the chat it is. Give me 15 minutes to crack open a DC, have a piece of chicken. We will return. I will have the stream up, and we will get into it. Dolphins, Rams, live here on the Smoke Break. We'll also talk more Bills and whatever the heck else you guys want to talk about. Maybe we'll do a little Q&A. I don't know. We could do whatever. We'll have fun. It's Monday night. Milano's back in the fold, and the Bills are 8-2. That's what I'm freaking talking about. We're going to have a good time. All right. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. The stream will be up. It'll be a different stream, so make sure to click on that. We'll watch a little Monday Night Football together, and I'm looking forward to it. So until then, see you in 15 minutes. Enjoy your time away from me until then. And on your way out the door, if you want to, by the way, once again, BetUS, you can bet on that game tonight. Rams -2, 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit using the promo code YouTube150. 125% bonus on your next two. After that, see you in a minute, folks. Much love. Go Bills.